Welcome back to the long exposure. Now today we're going to talk about leading lines, okay? Now, just keep in mind in these videos, these are just instructional videos. There's going to be a lot of hands-on stuff that we do on this channel as well. We're going to actually go out and shoot and demonstrate these topics, okay? But first I'm going to explain it, and then later on I'll put a link up here to an actual demonstration, and that way you can follow along better. But for now, let's just talk about leading lines, okay? Leading lines are lines in a photograph that are physically present in the photograph. Okay, this is different than the rule of thirds. Okay, remember the rule of thirds is kind of a grid, dividing each frame top to bottom and side to side by 1/3, and then placing things in the intersections, or at least on those lines, to keep interest and to guide the eye. Okay, leading lines are actual physical lines in a photograph. Okay, and these can be created sometimes even by the subject themselves, but most of the time it's elements within the frame. Okay, so for example, even though it's kind of far away, the shoreline back here behind me and these mountains could be considered leading lines leading up to me, okay? Also, my jacket, if this was a frame shot or whatever, this is just a still photo, my jacket could be a leading line to my face. You could use that technically, okay? But I'd recommend going out, and every day that you're out and about, always have an active eye for photography, okay? Even if you don't have your camera, which usually you do because you have a cell phone, which, the best camera is the one you have on you. So even if you're not taking pictures, though, just visualize in your mind what would make a good photograph in this scenario, okay? Is this a good photograph? I don't know. I mean, it works for my photo, for my video, but I wouldn't necessarily come take a picture of this. There's not really much interest here for me. But be on the lookout. Look for what you think would be a great photo. Practice in your mind. Okay, so one of the best things you can practice is looking for leading lines. Okay, for me, some of my favorite leading lines are benches, streets, nature. You can use, a lot of trees have very interesting lines that you can use to frame subjects. Okay, especially if you're doing like a portraiture or something like that, or something that's a little bit more abstract. Okay, shorelines, great leading lines if you can make them work. Okay, but just keep an eye out for streets, sidewalks, benches. I love, like I said, grass. You can use, the grass in all those cool parks have a lot of really cool lines that you can use. Cement walls, bricks. I mean, there's countless things that you can use for leading lines, and in every situation that you are in, you can find something that could be used as a leading line. For example, on the ground behind me, you can see a lot of these tire tracks. Technically, you could use that as a leading line, or a train track. I wouldn't suggest going out and taking pictures on a live train track, but if you know a train track that's been decommissioned or something like that, train tracks make great leading lines. But don't go use live train tracks. You don't want to die like some of these idiots do. And not to be mean, but there's been a lot of photographers and a lot of people that they've been shooting pictures for, they get killed because of irresponsible photographers that go on train tracks. That's why it's not one of my favorites, but you can use it if you know one that's been decommissioned and it's useful. Anyways, anything that you could think of that leads the eye. Okay, that's the focus of leading lines. Is you want to lead the eye of your audience to the subject of interest. Okay, so if that subject of interest is a person, you could put them on a bench and take the camera from a perspective. Take the photo from a perspective that leads those lines to that person and makes it interesting. Okay. You don't want to just have like a bench there and then a person separate from the bench and not be using those leading lines. Okay, if you're doing that, you might as well cut the bench out and keep your focus just on that person. Do a close up of the face, whatever you're looking for. Okay, but you can use leading lines for architecture. You can use leading lines to frame a subject. You can use leading lines to lead to a subject. You can use them for anything you want in photography, but just pay attention to that while you're walking around, and especially when you're actually shooting. Take pictures that have leading lines that make your eye wander around the photograph until it gets to the point of focus. Okay, make sure you're not distracting your audience, but make sure that it's just keeping enough interest there that it leads to that person and makes it interesting. We'll do some demonstrations later on so you can get a better concept of a better understanding of this concept. But I feel like it's good to explain it at least. That way you can watch this video, kind of understand it, go out there and look it up online. You can look all kinds of stuff on Google. We'll give pretty good examples of what leading lines mean. All right, guys, until next time, please subscribe. Check out the description for my Amazon store where I have some of my books that I've written that you will find interesting and helpful for photography. Talk to you guys later.